Today, in this video, I'll be reading the most wildest One Piece theories yet. And I'll be going over a lot of them, so stay tuned to the very end, because these theories are absolutely mind-blowing. So the first theory we have here is that Usopp is a part of the Zushi Noto tribe. Now, I'm actually well aware of this theory as I explained it in one of my videos. If you don't know what a Zushi Noto is, it is the hybrid of a giant and a Tontada. The reason for Usopp being a part of this lineage is because Usopp lied about being a descendant from Nolan. And this is where a second theory comes into place, Usopp's lie theory. Every time Usopp says a lie, it always becomes true. For an example, Usopp had said that pirates will attack Syrup Village, and this later became true due to the pirates of Captain Kuro, the existence of a giant goldfish which was revealed in Little Garden, and even the kingdom of dwarves which was revealed as the Tontada. And since Usopp had lied about being a descendant from Nolan, this could later become true. And also, Nolan has a chestnut on his head, showing that he's a part of this lineage. And there's also some more evidence to support this theory, as both Usopp and his mom share the same noses of Tontada. And also, Usopp is able to get along perfectly with giants and Tontada. Anyways, for the next theory is the fact that Sanji is a clone. Sanji actually died during the Whole Cake Island arc. His brothers beat him to death in the clone room scene, and Riju secretly awakened a clone to replace him for the wedding. Sanji's flashback from that time represents either the original Sanji's memories being downloaded before his death, or those memories being uploaded into the clone. It also explains why Riju wouldn't let the doctors touch Sanji immediately afterward, why Sanji's cuffs were fake, and why Riju suddenly had a change of heart. As Whole Cake Island progresses, she becomes less enthusiastic about Sanji rejoining the Vinsmokes and living the royal life. She felt guilty for her brother's death and wanted to give the clone a chance to live the life the real Sanji was meant to have. This theory is very sad and disturbing, as if this theory is true, the Sanji we know after the Whole Cake Island arc is not the real Sanji. However, there's one thing that disproves this entire theory. It's that Judge didn't have it in him to allow Sanji's death. Moving on to the next theory, which is Crocodile is Luffy's mom. And this theory is extremely crazy. You see, it's heavily implied that Crocodile is trans, and Ivanko is the one who transitioned him. And Ivanko also even blackmails Crocodile into telling his secret. This could possibly mean that Crocodile is trans. So when Crocodile was female, they gave birth to Luffy. However, there is one problem with this theory. Even if Crocodile is trans, there is no known relationship with him and Dragon. Moving on to our fourth theory is the theory that Blackbeard has 3 souls. This theory comes from the fact that Blackbeard is able to eat multiple devil fruits. The evidence of this theory is that he has a Jolly Roger with 3 skulls on it. He also has the inability to sleep, as different souls are controlling his body at different times of the day, and possesses multiple personalities. And also, Marco did state that Blackbeard's body is strange, and he also has 3 guns and 3 ties on his beard, symbolizing that 3 is an important number to Blackbeard. However, this would also mean that 3 devil fruits is his limit, and I don't think Blackbeard has a limit on how many devil fruits he can eat, as he did consider on eating Boa Hancock's devil fruits, showing that he isn't cautious on the devil fruits he eats, as if he did have a limit, he would be cautious on what devil fruit he will pick as his final devil fruit. Moving on to our 5th theory is that the original Celestial Dragons were aliens. This is a compelling theory that the Celestial Dragons are descendants of extraterrestrial settlers from the Moon Kingdom, with Emu as their external ruler. The evidence to support this theory is the mural in Elbaf, as we see the 20 kingdoms powering some kind of ship and leaving the Earth to go to the Moon, which possibly means that the Celestial Dragons will leave Earth to escape the Great Flood. which is a video for another time. The celestial dragons also have astronaut-like appearances. However, this is explained that the celestial dragons do not want to breathe the same air as the peasants. However, it doesn't explain why the celestial dragons wear their suits even when they're inside their mansions. But the Gorosei have the names of planets, such as Saturn, Mars, Mercury, Venus, and Jupiter. And they even named the worst generation supernovas. And supernovas are collapsing stars with destructive power. Basically something that you do not want to see. And now moving on to our sixth theory is the subscribe theory. This theory is that those who click on this red button on the bottom of this video will automatically be subscribed to this channel. And you know what? I'm gonna make y'all test this theory, so go on, click that red button below. Now let's move on to our seventh theory, which is the theory that Enel will return. This theory is suggesting that Enel will return to the main One Piece story, potentially playing a major role in the final saga. Proponents point to the Moon cover story, Enel's powerful abilities, and his potential connection to the Void Century, and the ancient weapons as evidence for his eventual return. Also, I want you to remember this theory because later in the video, I'll be talking about another theory about Enel. Following to our eighth theory is that Nami is a princess. The evidence for this theory is that Nami possesses similar facial features as other princesses in One Piece, such as Vivi, Sarahoshi, and Rebecca. Also, the theory constantly uses a lost royalty trope, as they did this with Vivi and Rebecca. We also don't know who Nami's true parents are, nor do we know her last name. Nami could have been the princess of the Oikot Kingdom before it was destroyed. Also, Nami, Sarahoshi, Vivi, and Rebecca are also all named after flowers. And with the new official coloring of the manga, Saint Somers of the Shepherd family has orange hair just like Nami, possibly referring that Nami is a part of this lineage and a princess in this family. Moving on to our next theory is that Buggy is actually a member of the D clan. The theory comes from the fact that Roxy Zebek had not only Blackbeard as his son, but also Buggy. Some more evidence of this theory is that the right half of Rox's face, shown in chapters 1154, resembles Buggy's jawline, eyes, and smile, while the other half resembles Blackbeard's. And we also have to talk about the age and timing of this theory. Buggy is 39 to 40 years old, placing him at 1 to 2 years old during the God Valley incident. This makes it plausible that he was a baby on the Rocks Pirates ship and was rescued or abandoned. Moving on to our 10th theory is that Luffy will gain Gear 6. And this is a theory that I actually talked about on my channel. Current Luffy right now isn't even as strong as Prime Whitebeard, meaning Luffy is nowhere even near strong enough to even fight against Emu. So Luffy will need to power up one more time to fight against Emu. Luffy is based off of Sun Wukong from Journey to the West. And in Journey to the West, Nirvana is the ultimate goal of enlightenment and the absolute state of liberation, which is what Nika represents. So Gear 6 will have powers similar to the Buddha himself, as the Buddha is the one in Buddhism who has the most enlightenment. More evidence to support this theory is that Luffy has always been correlated with the numbers 5-6, and 5-6 translates to Gomu, which is the name of Luffy's devil fruit, resembling Gear 5 to Gear 6. Moving on to our 11th theory is that Emu is a demon. You see, Emu's name spelled backwards is Umi, hinting at the name of an Umibozu. And an Umibozu is a type of Japanese demon. And come on, Emu looks exactly like an Umibozu. Emu also possesses an ability called Domi Reverse, which allows them to turn others into demons. And Emu's transformation also has demon-like appearances. Also, what if this silhouette of Emu isn't actually a silhouette, As we've seen the God Valley incident in the manga, we've seen too much of Emu. So what if this is actually their body? This would also be more evidence to the theory that Emu is a demon. Moving on to our 12th theory is the four God fruit theory. In Skypiea, it's been revealed that there are four gods in One Piece: the god of the sun, the god of the rain, the god of the earth, and the god of the forest, with Nika being the sun god. And since Luffy ate the Nika Nika fruit, there's gotta be three more devil fruits for the other gods, with Emu possessing the devil fruit of the rain god, and Chopper being the forest god. Emu's name spelled backwards is Umi, and Umi translates to sea. And because of the theory that Emu is possibly a sea demon, it would make sense that Emu also has this devil fruit. And since Chopper's devil fruit is called the human fruit, and Luffy's devil fruit is called the human fruit model Nika, the correlation of the name should work, meaning Chopper could have the forest god devil fruit. And Chopper is also a deer, and deers typically live in forests, giving more evidence to the fact that Chopper is the forest god. And I also studied more of this theory in the video where I gave every Straw Hat the perfect and ultimate upgrade, so be sure to check that video out, and the link will be in the description below. Moving on to our 13th theory is that Enel is the fifth god. You see, Enel is based on the god Zeus, and Zeus is the king of the gods, meaning Enel is possibly the quote-unquote thunder god. More evidence to this theory is that Enel is now the ruler of the Moon Kingdom, and the moon is above the clouds, meaning Enel is metaphorically above heaven, making him the king of the gods, as he surpassed the realm of gods. Moving on to our 14th theory is the Will of Dusk versus the Will of Dawn. The Will of Dawn and the Will of Dusk are two different versions of the Will of D, with the Will of Dawn being Joy Boy and the Will of Dusk being Davy Jones. And this will has also been passed on to Gold D. Roger and Roxy Xebec. And now it's been passed on to Monkey D. Luffy and Marshall D. Teach. The Will of Dawn versus the Will of Dusk also resembles yin and yang, freedom through liberation and freedom through destruction, as both Luffy and Blackbeard have different versions of freedom. Also, since Luffy and Blackbeard can refer to yin and yang, so it might be hinted that Luffy and Blackbeard must work together in order to defeat Emu. And our 15th and final theory is that Loki will join the Straw Hats. People say that Luffy only wanted 10 men, so they think that Jinbei is the final member. However, Luffy could be excluding himself, meaning that Jinbei will be the 9th member, so Loki could be the final and 10th member of the Straw Hats. Also, Loki's introduction is in chains, which is very similar to Roronoa Zoro's introduction, so this could be a mirror effect in the narrative. Also, can we talk about how strong the Straw Hats would be if Loki joins the crew? They will be absolutely powerful. And also, this man has been rejected by his mother, he's been rejected by his brother, he's been rejected by his idol, he's been rejected by his people, and he's even been rejected by his own love. Luffy is the only one who has accepted him, so Loki should join the Straw Hats. Click on this video next, where I made the strongest character in One Piece.